Hello everyone, my name is Claire McMonigal. I'm an occupational therapist and director of Gordeley Social Farm here in Northern Ireland. So today I'm presenting my poster on a secondary analysis of anonymised data to assess the occupational performance of marginalised young people following a prescribed equine assisted learning programme. So I suppose my reason and interest in this area is I've worked in private practice now for the last number of years. And I've always been very interested in the use of nature and animal-based approaches. Um, my daily job involves incorporating hippotherapy, equine-assisted learning, social farming activities, and horticulture as part of my occupational therapy practice. And I suppose within Northern Ireland, equine interactions as a form of healthcare is growing rapidly. It has been identified as an area for growth by the Department of Agriculture and Rural Affairs in their review of the equine strategy. The University of Ulster have recently started to offer a multidisciplinary postgraduate certificate for allied health professionals in the incorporation of equines and the environment into their practice. The Department of Education have also recently funded a tender entitled Happy Healthy Minds, and this includes equine assisted therapy and learning as one of the therapeutic tools and interventions. So I suppose throughout my project, I've realised that the research in this area is limited. However, what is there is promising. Therefore, I felt that it was fitting and timely to examine the effects of a socially prescribed equine assisted learning programme on the occupational performance of marginalised young people. So the aim of the pilot was to capture the effectiveness of equine assisted therapy or equine assisted learning, and explore its use as an appropriate social prescription, capturing the effects on occupational functioning on the marginalised young people within Northern Ireland. The objectives were to use the model of human occupation screening tool to capture those functional benefits and to explore the potential for its use as an appropriate social prescription. So the methods there, in my daily practice, I would use the MOHAS quite a lot. So I wanted to use the MOHAS as a baseline, because that provided me with the opportunity to adapt or grade the interventions within the GATES programme. And all areas were scored using that 4-point scale. And then we were able to adapt the 4-point scale and give those scales a number value. So F had 4, then A had 3, I had 2, and R had 1. So we were able to do some statistical analysis using that approach. So the participants attended the farm 1 day per week for 20 weeks, either in the morning or afternoon session. And the MOHAS then was re-evaluated throughout their time there. The changes then was made to the GATES programme. So the GATES programme was the programme that the participants were invited to be part of. And it looked at the 5 steps to wellbeing through horses and the environment. So we're looking at giving your time to the horses, being active, interconnecting, take notice, and service learn to learn by doing. So the data, as I said, was analysed using SPSS version 17, and a paired samples test was also run to analyse the significance of the results gathered. Descriptive analysis was run on all variables, and comparison and mean scores made in each subsection. We also captured video and picture evidence throughout the programme lifetime, with comments as well gathered as part of the MOHAS, the MOHAS questionnaire. And printout information was also gained through a mechanical simulator horse for those who had a dual diagnosis of physical disability. So these are the results from our SPSS data. And from that, we were able to see that from the table, it highlights the results from the SPSS paired sample test, proving the comparisons in the mean scores pre and post interventions for all subgroups achieved a statistical significance with p-values of less than 0.5. The p-value in each data subgroup was less than 0.05, indicating the results to be statistically significant with clear evidence against the null hypothesis, with less than a 5% probability that the null could be correct. In all subgroups, there was a significantly average mean difference, with a t-score of over 10 and just under 14, and the p-value of less than 0.001 in each of the subgroups. On average, the post scores in all subgroups were between 4 and 5 points higher, with a 95% confidence interval of less than 2 in each subgroup. Comments and video and picture evidence further stressed the importance of this intervention on occupational performance benefits. So that gives us a good visual, I suppose, on our pre and post scores. And they were looked at in terms of all of the subgroups of motivation or patterns of occupation, communication, interaction skills, process skills, motor skills, and the environment. And through the discussions then, we talked about ways in which the farm and the natural environment and horses were beneficial in each of those subgroups. So the findings really do, I suppose, agree with the evidence that exists throughout the literature to date. From the analysis of the pre and post MOHOS data, the GATES programme supports young people who identify as marginalised to increase their occupational performance in their daily lives in areas of motivation, patterns, communication, processes, motor skills, and the environment. Improvements in MOHOS scores highlight its ability to act as a social prescription for youth who identify as marginalised. And that was one area I was particularly interested in as such a new and up-and-coming area and so key to us as occupational therapists. The potential benefits of the use of underused equine environments within Northern Ireland as a healthcare intervention should be investigated for future use. So the implications for practice is that findings from this studies can inform the development of equine-assisted activities as a healthcare intervention. It has proved evidence for the further use of equine establishments as a healthcare resource, and it highlights the unique role of occupational therapy within the community and within social prescribing, demonstrating their natural ability to coordinate, implement, and evaluate person-centred interventions and effectively incorporate meaningful community activities into practice. Strengths and limitations. This was the first study within Northern Ireland to assess the effectiveness of an equine-assisted learning programme as an occupational therapy intervention and social prescription. It provides an example of the use of the MOHOS as an evaluation tool within the community setting. And the study we felt was slightly limited by the small numbers, meaning the ability to generalise these outcomes was limited. The MOHOS was administered by the on-site occupational therapist, and the use of an independent MOHOS administrator would strengthen the study to control the risk of potential bias. A follow-up study would be of benefit for the completion at multiple sites. Larger randomised numbers of participants would help with a wider range of age and diagnosis. So the pilot would benefit from a follow-up evaluation at 3 to 6 months, as this would provide the research with information on the extent to which the changes remain with people over time. And as I said, reproduction by multiple sites, larger sample sizes, and randomisation of participants to the groups would also be recommended. Then, taking part in the study, I would like to acknowledge and give thanks to the participants involved in the study, as well as the funders, including the European Social Fund, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, the Health and Social Care Board, the Rural Area Partnership in Derry, and the Community Foundation. I would also very much like to thank my supervisor, Dr. Lucia Ramsey, for her ongoing support in this project. Here's some references. And again, if there's anybody with any questions or wants to any more information, I'd be more than happy to answer that. Thank you for listening.